and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting show of Haileybury One Talk with Thought Leaders. I'm Dr. Sandeep, Academic Director at Haileybury Bhaluka. And for your information, Haileybury One is brought to you by Haileybury Bhaluka, Bangladesh's leading international school. It's a boarding school with a 200-year-old legacy, and it's one of the highest performing, academically performing schools globally. It's ranked in the top 2% in IB results. It's ranked 85th in Cambridge results, and most importantly, at Bhaluka, all its teachers are Harvard certified, they're international teachers, and this is something that is a remarkable progress for our country. You also have Haileybury Bhaluka bringing in MIT this June to teach students across Bangladesh robotics underwater, and that's underwater robotics is something that you'll hear for the first time out here. So if you are a school student in any school and want to participate in an MIT summer camp, June is the time that you should be joining us at Haileybury Bhaluka. But more importantly, you've noticed that at Haileybury One, this program, we've brought to you week after week some of the greatest corporate leaders that Bangladesh has. We had Mr. Baba Dola from Oracle earlier, we had Mr. Yusuf Farooq from Microsoft, and we have similar leaders coming week after week. And this week, we have one of the topmost industrial and corporate leaders that our country showcases across to the globe, and that is Ms. Rupali Chowdhury. Everyone knows Ms. Rupali Chowdhury, although she needs no introduction. I'm going to introduce her very specifically. She's the Managing Director of Berger, which is the biggest claim to fame, but more importantly, she has won various awards throughout her time in Bangladesh, from being the CEO of the Year Award to the Female Entrepreneur of the Year Award. There's something that she also won, which is the highest female taxpayer award during 1 year. She also sits on the as an independent director. She sits on the boards of many multinational companies like Evercare, Bata, Linde, and under her leadership, Berger is now Bangladesh's number one paints company. Ms. Rupali,
hello.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Haileybury One. It's so exciting to have you here.
Thank you, Sandeep. You have given such a beautiful, I think, overstated, introduction of me. I'm just, overwhelmed.
No. It's you are an inspiration, not just to women across Bangladesh. You stand as an exemplar for even the male CEOs to follow, the way you worked very hard throughout the years. We'll take the audience through many aspects of her leadership, and this is also a grand welcome to the millions of our viewers who view this program, of our channel and of our social media. Thank you for the resounding comments, and thank you for the feedback, which is why in today's show, based on your feedback, we have a beautiful section called Rapid Fire section, which comes at the end of the show, so wait for it. And now, Ms. Rupali, we move on very quickly to the first part of the show. And this show is more focused on corporate concepts for the youth to understand. Now, the youth of Bangladesh is really, very enterprising. They want to come up, they want to achieve a lot. But somewhere along the line, they face something called the imposter syndrome. Now, what is the imposter syndrome? The National Institute of Health says that high achievers sometimes face self-doubt over their intellect, over their capability, competence, and they feel that maybe the job they are doing, they are not right for the job. They don't have the competence for it. Now, many Bangladeshi youth face this imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Have you faced such an imposter syndrome in your life? And if yes, how did you resolve it?
I still do. I have this imposter syndrome, means, self-doubt, isn't it? Actually, whether you are better prepared, when you are in the corporate world, no matter how better you are prepared, you will be facing a problem which you have not faced before. So, and there is a lot of pressure also. The corporate pressure is also sometimes huge. It is a competitive world, and then you think that you have to perform, and if you are in the listed company, then your performance back in the USA, they actually see quarter by quarter. So, there are a lot of pressure for the youngsters, because they know that if there are people outside there to compete with them, and best way to handle is that, the way you handle the fear, sometimes people have their height fear, so to face it. So, you have to really be better prepared for the job, and the preparation is not going to take away the fear, but you have to face that situation. And most of the time what happens, we make mistakes. So, mistakes are part of life, and we have to accept that gracefully and learn lesson from the mistakes and move forward. And I think in my case also, in my career also, when I was given the responsibility of marketing, I did not want to take it, because I was happy doing planning type of work, because that suits me, that was my comfort zone. So, when they actually pulled me out of the comfort zone, I was not quite actually confident. Even when I was given the responsibility of FICCI as a president, it is the leadership among equals, there is no hierarchy. So, I thought, will I be able to serve? So, that kind of doubt is sometimes good. It is give you that kind of feeling that whether I will be able to perform or not, then you actually look into the knowledge. We want to look into, talk to the people who have already done it. So, you seek knowledge and also you face that issue, and once you face that issue, you know that actually you can do it. Sometimes you fail, but failure is also part of life.
Ms. Rupali, it's so fantastic hearing these answers from you. I'm sure that our audience would be learning a lot from you. But we quickly move on to a second part, a predicament that youth today face. This is a very common word, multitasking.
Yeah.
Youth are told that if they multitask, they can grow faster, they can achieve much more, and you'll see that many children in schools as well as many of us, we keep trying to do multiple jobs throughout the day. Now, you've been in a leadership role, and as a leader, I don't know how much you multitask, but I wanted to throw two research points at you. One is from Simon Sinek. He's a very well-known management speaker, speaks sense most of the times. So I saw one of his books, New York Times bestseller, in which he said that multitasking actually reduces the efficiency of people, and he quotes a Stanford study where he said that multitaskers made more mistakes and remembered less than single taskers. At the same time, I read a Wharton study which said that the perception of multitasking is what makes people perform better. And for example, in cricket, I mean, it's a simple example. When a bowler is bowling, he's running, he's thinking, and he's bowling. There are multiple tasks involved in actually getting the ball to the batsman. So what should the youth today do? Should they multitask? Should they not? What do you do in your leadership role? How much do you multitask? Do you think it works?
I think there are two aspects. When you are actually doing a functional job at the entry level, you have to know your job best, isn't it? That's why you are hired. But as you go along up in the organization, you really have to collaborate with the different departments, both stakeholders in the office and also outside the office. So, I think multitasking you cannot really avoid. What maybe Simon is saying is that too much multitasking, that's also because you have certain amount of brain power and you can stretch so much and you can remember so much. So, one has to actually balance it fine. But for a CEO, it's multitasking, or any departmental leadership position who is actually holding, he cannot actually go up without multitasking. That's my take on it, because practically you cannot, because as a managing director, I have to really do my core business and also go deep into it, and also to some extent we have to delegate, and effective delegation should be there, but you have to have actually a kind of how do I say that, very good hands on that work is going on, and that's called effective leadership. But at the same time, you have to work with different bodies, isn't it? Like regulatory bodies, like media, like actually different kind of interest group who actually influence your business. In our case, it's architects, it's painters. So you have to do multitasking at one point of time. And as a mother, basically, as also a parent, anybody, they have to actually do their official job, and when they go back, they have to wear different kind of hat. and they have to do actually, detach themselves to for some time and focus on the home. So, that is also multitasking. So, nobody can escape multitasking, but yeah, there has to be a caveat on that, that how much you can do multitasking without actually affecting the quality of attention to your core business.
I think that you've talked very deeply on this. As a person who heads multiple institutions, I also head a few institutions, and I would love to not multitask. I would love to do a single task all the time and sleep. Very quickly moving on to something that has been on my mind earlier. I've been reading Japanese books also. I mean, and one of the concepts that I came across was this concept of Sempai Kohai. Where the concept of Sempai Kohai is that it's like a mentor-mentee in Japan.
Yes.
If you join an organization, anyone who has been there longer than you is your Sempai, and you are his or her Kohai. And it is your responsibility to give mentoring to the newcomers as a duty, and the newcomers have to respect you because you are there longer than them. Now, how do you believe in this concept of mentoring, mentee in organizations? In your life, have you had a mentor? Have you had,
yes.
And do you mentor someone?
I don't. I do, but I do not do per person, especially one person. But whenever it's a situational thing, whenever it is for me it is an on the job training, isn't it? So 70% learning happens on the job. So someone has to continuously mentor the newcomer, and newcomer, of course, when you actually bring newcomer on a lateral position and on a very, very good industry, they also come up with some knowledge. So we have to respect that also, but they also have to fit in to the organizational culture. So there has to be a give and take and process, so that the person who comes new, he feels at home. And mentor actually mentee situation, whether it is a longer period or shorter period, any newcomer should be given that kind of comfort that he is being taken care of, he is being listened to, and also we are listening to him, and he is also listening to our own culture. So he fits into the culture. That's the job of a person who actually is hiring. Maybe it's not always the managing director, but it's actually the immediate boss, whoever actually that person is going to be.
I am so overblown by whatever you are saying. I joined my first job right after finishing my graduation. I thought that taking work experience would give me a good standing for doing my postgraduate studies. Joined my first job, and I got one guy who was my mentor, my senior. And I was, in a dreamland that now I'm going to learn management. He turned out to be the worst mentor possible, but I can't even tell you how hard he was.
Yeah.
But then he taught me so many things. I learned good management by understanding what not to do as a manager.
Yeah,
so everything he did, I noted that that's something I will never do with us. So
exactly.
I thank him till today for being probably the best mentor I had. And with those words, we are quickly going to take a break. Before the break, we've seen concepts like imposter syndrome, multitasking, and Sempai Kohai. Come after the break and join us for another round of exciting questions with Ms. Rupali Chowdhury, Managing Director of Berger, and don't miss the rapid fire round. We are having Ms. Rupali Chowdhury in the midst of us. She's the Managing Director of Berger, and she's a 3-time FICCI president. For those who are joining us late, just before the break, we discussed the imposter syndrome, we discussed whether multitasking was good, and we also discussed a Japanese concept called Sempai Kohai. And now we move on to some more interesting concepts, something which is very relevant to Bangladesh. Ms. Rupali, first of all, welcome back after the break. We know that you are absolutely passionately committed to Bangladesh growing as a nation. You put that perhaps in front of all your personal achievements also, and that's something really remarkable. Now my question to you is, Steve Jobs says follow your passion, but that doesn't work in real life, because just by following my passion I'm not going to get the money. So what would you advise the youth of today in Bangladesh? Should they blindly go into entrepreneurship, or should they just, like a robot, go into their job? So
Actually, entrepreneurship, of course, we have to develop because there are so many people coming up with new idea, and today's boys, they don't want to do 9 to 5, and they fresh from the university, they don't want the idea of actually being caged in one room. And for me also, the transition from the university to one room was quite a tough task, So ultimately, of course, if you have a good plan and if you are so passionate about it, you can we can actually talk to the government now that there are actually SME fund available, and with the idea itself, without any collateral, whether fund can be managed, that we can always talk with the regulatory body. And because the government is actually in ensuring SME development. So this is it goes with the idea of SME, and then with the idea venture capitalists, in the tech there is a fund, I mean SME, there is a I think fund available for them, and that also there. But my take on it that you cannot always pursue your passion, because the life does not give that kind of unless you are super brilliant. You are like Sachin Tendulkar, that you are actually got the notice and you are picked up by some people. But if your passion is actually about business, growing business, you need money, you need a mentor. So you can also actually, my saying is that you can go to the private investor. In Bangladesh, actually, if you look at the RMG sector itself, they have money, they want to diversify and other businesses, and for them taking risks with a brilliant idea is not going to be a difficult one, and they would like to actually invest also. So in the private sector could be one, and who actually wants to do the job in the second line, that they are not unable to get any fund, they can start with the job and gain the knowledge where actually his main passion is there. So in that department, if they can work, they can actually gain the knowledge and they can gain confidence, and they still can actually quit the job and start their own adventure. But when actually we hire those kind of people in organizations who have the entrepreneurial skill, organization also give value to them. They give quick career path, and they actually give also a different kind of assignment, so that they can also showcase their entrepreneurial skill. And we need also in the organization those kind of people. It is not only whatever we say you do it. No, organization needs entrepreneurial skill, and they actually they are the star of the company. So this is nowadays the buzzword in the corporate world, that entrepreneur skill, because they have the learning agility, they cross over, they are not happy with their own job. They actually try to assimilate information as much as possible and reach out to the people. So those can be a training ground from them, and from there they can actually always go back to their own passion and start finding their own resources from different sources.
that's very, very nice, ma'am. But now you're going to face your entrepreneurship challenge, your innovation challenge. There's a rapid fire round which is coming directly at you. And if you perform well, you will get an incentive, not money, but a goodie bag from Haileybury.
Okay.
So are you ready for this?
Do I have any choice?
You don't have a choice, of course. And audience, we start with the rapid fire round. Quick questions and quick answers, and let's see how Ms. Rupali Chowdhury, Managing Director of Berger, performs on these. All right, ma'am, let's start. Number one, your favorite color?
All colors in the rainbow.
Your favorite song?
Our national anthem.
Your favorite actor?
Many, Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep.
Your favorite food?
Shutki mach and bhat.
This one is tough. The meaning of Berger?
Is actually, we believe in customer delight. In the products that we sell, in the service that we give, and also we would like to see Berger as a technologically innovative company.
And you also told me earlier that it was named after Louis Berger, who founded, he was a die maker many years ago.
Years ago.
Okay, next question. if you were marooned on an island, this is a common question, and you had a choice of keeping one person with you, not your husband, so who would be that one person you would want to be marooned on an island with?
I think Nelson Mandela. He is not alive, but I wanted to know from him, it's a lifetime question, that when he was jailed in the Ruben Island for many years, half of his almost life, how actually he survived, how has he actually kept his spirit alive.
You shouldn't have asked me the question, because my people, my family wouldn't like the answer. Okay, next question, artificial intelligence or natural stupidity, which one would you prefer?
Artificial intelligence is actually, we cannot avoid, but we want that the artificial intelligence is the reality that's going to happen. Now, I want actually that better understanding of artificial intelligence, what it's going to do to the present kind of working scenario, and I want actually all the regulators of the world, they better understand what it means, so that normally technological innovation happens and the regulatory bodies later on they find out that what are the pluses and minuses. It starts from the atomic bomb, isn't it? And also the invent of the Facebook, I am not against them, but the pitfalls is how to control the information. I am not saying that editing, but no, you have to really look at the negative side of it, isn't it?
So would you choose artificial intelligence or natural stupidity? In other words, humans.
I have to choose artificial intelligence.
Your worst habit?
I think my worst habit is I am too soft sometimes.
Your best achievement, ma'am?
A good human being.
Okay, this last one, second last one actually, is something I don't know will it be tough or not. Name a flyover which was completely painted by Berger with Berger paints.
It's being painted, it's Mahakali flyover.
Excellent. Okay, and the last question, what is 99 into 99? Nobody answers that, and thank you so much, ma'am. You passed your rapid fire round with flying colors, and in return, it's not the KJ show, but in return, we have a very nice goodie bag for you. Let me quickly hand it over to you. No, you don't need to get up. We'll just keep it here. We can take it later.
Okay.
It has a lot of nice goodies, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming to our show. The responses have been so exciting and so deeply insightful, I'm sure. And it has been really exciting to have Ms. Rupali Chowdhury, Managing Director of Berger, with us in this show. Remember that Haileybury One is brought to you by Haileybury Bhaluka, Bangladesh's leading international school. Week after week, we bring you top corporate leaders. Next week, we have another corporate leader coming up. So do join us at the same time for the same show. This is Dr. Sandeep signing off.